Good morning and welcome to another episode of SmartFox TV.
With international news. Did you know that there's a place in North America that has experienced no COVID-19 cases? This is the Northern Territory of Canada called Nunavut. Last March, as borders around the world closed, Nunavut officials brought in some of the strictest travel regulations in Canada, barring entry to almost all non-residents. Those returning home had to spend 2 weeks at the Nunavut's government's expense in what they called isolation hubs, which were hotels in the cities of Winnipeg, Yellowknife, Ottawa, and Edmonton. Security guards were stationed in the hotels and nurses checked the returnees. To date, just over 7,000 Nunavut residents have spent time in these hubs as they returned home. There were many challenges during this time. People were caught breaking isolation and had to stay extended days, which caused long waiting times to enter some of the hubs. People also complained about the available food during isolation. Early in the pandemic, tests could take a week, which meant infections could easily spread due to the limited medical resources in that Northern Territory. Their capital, for example, can only handle up to 20 COVID-19 patients if there were some sort of outbreak, and they may have to send others to the south for medical care. Thanks to their hard work, the official case count in Nunavut has remained at 0. There was, however, one close case in which workers from southern Canada came to work in the mines, but those cases weren't counted against the Nunavut's case count because they were from other territories. That's it today for international news.
Welcome to Sports Trivia Mondays. Which MLB player has the most home runs in a World Series? Is it Babe Ruth, Reggie Jackson, or Mickey Mantle? Be right back with the answer. On this day in history, the Civil Rights Movement was a struggle for social justice that took place mainly during the 50s and 60s for Black Americans to gain equal rights under the law in the United States. On October 19th in the year 1960, Martin Luther King, the face of civil rights, and 51 other students were arrested at a sit-in protest at Rich's Lunch Counter in Atlanta, Georgia. Martin Luther King worked for equality till the day he was assassinated in 1968. He was a Baptist minister that always pushed towards peaceful protests, but these protests did not always go as planned, and on this particular day he was taken away in handcuffs. The sit-in protest began in February of that year with 4 college students at Woolsworth in Greensboro, North Carolina. The sit-ins were organized to protest Jim Crow segregation laws, and the peaceful sit-ins and demonstrations in dozens of cities helped launch the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. On this particular day, on October 19th in 1960, at Rich's prominent department store in Atlanta, they became the center of the struggle of integration. African Americans could purchase items from the store, but they were not allowed to try on clothing or sit at the table in the Magnolia dining room. Martin Luther King was sentenced to 6 months at hard labor. An intervention by the presidential candidate John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert Kennedy convinced the judge to grant a bond. This secured President Kennedy's black vote, and he won the presidential election of 1960. By August of 1961, sit-ins attracted over 70,000 participants, both black and white, and over 3,000 arrests, until 1961 when the restaurants stopped segregating, and some never stopped until civil rights law of 1964. Despite making some gains, Black Americans still experience blatant prejudice in their daily lives. The current discussion asks that people stop and listen and pay attention to the discrimination that has hurt the people of this great nation. That's all I have for this day in history.
Hey everyone, Kim McCurry here, and today I want to speak about anime, in particular to the hero and the heroine. Why are they so young? Small background about me, I love anime. I've loved anime since I was 7 years old, watching Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z to Sailor Moon, that all started when I was younger. Now I'm older, obviously, but anime has definitely grown with me into adulthood, and it's one of my favorite pastimes. Whenever I do have time, I'm catching up on new episodes of What in the Hooten Tog, because I'll just say now I have a plethora of anime that I watch. So let's get started.
There is one main reason why the protagonists of anime are very young, and mainly this stems from Japanese feelings of World War II. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but 2 atomic bombs were dropped on Japan during World War II. The first was on August 6th of 1945 on Hiroshima and August 9th of 1945 on Nagasaki. The bombs killed between 129,000 people to 226,000 people, and the effects it had on the environment and the descendants of those people actually exist to today. So during the time of World War II, which was from September 1st, 1939 to September 2nd of 1945, there were multiple air raids on Japan, and although Japan had an active military at the time, they could not keep up with the continuous dead bodies that kept piling up and had to have the assistance of young adolescents to help move these dead bodies. Kinji Fukasaku, the director of Battle Royale, which the Hunger Games author found inspiration from, I think says it best. I immediately identified with the 9th graders in the novel Battle Royale. I was 15 when World War II came to an end. By then, my class had been drafted and was working in a munitions factory. In July 1945, we were caught up in artillery fire. Up until then, the attacks had been air raids and you had a chance of escaping from those. But with the artillery, there was no way out. It was impossible to run or hide from the shells that rained down. We survived by diving for cover under our friends. After the attacks, my class had to dispose of the corpses. It was the first time in my life I'd seen so many dead bodies. As I lifted several arms and legs, I had a fundamental awakening. Everything we've been taught in school about how Japan was fighting the war to win world peace was a pack of lies. Adults could not be trusted. The emotions I experienced then, an irrational hatred for unseen forces that drives us into those circumstances, a poisonous hostility towards adults, and a gentle sentimentality for my friends, were a starting point for everything since. This is why, when I hear reports about recent outbreaks of teenage violence and crimes, I cannot easily judge or dismiss them. So now it comes back to the question, why are the protagonists, the heroes and the heroines of anime so young? And again, that deals with Japanese feelings towards World War II. So I use the example of what Kinji Fukasaku said to point out that he was an adolescent. He was in middle school, high school, when he had to pull his dead classmates' bodies, hide in them from artillery fire at that, and then put them together in a pile, to be disposed of. He had to be drafted into the military at a very, very young age just to help with what was the damages that was being caused in society, and it had to be his classmates, no less. So, taking from what he said, one of the highlights in that interview was adults could not be trusted. So, what do you feel about that? I think when we're all young, we always say, we always have arguments with our parents and things like that. Or I remember when I was little and I got into a fight with my mom, I would lock myself in the bathroom and cry for my dad. Then I got into a fight with my dad, I would lock myself in the bathroom and cry for my mom, but definitely not on the extent of what happened to World War II. So coming to that phrase, adults cannot be trusted, I think it shows that because of the circumstances of World War II, children, young adolescents are still children. You're not over 18 yet. You're not an adult. You're not considered an adult. Children were forced to grow up at a faster pace. So by saying that, that's why the heroines of anime and heroes are normally younger. They're normally kids, they're teenagers, they're middle schoolers. Sometimes they're even younger than that. Some of them are even elementary, you know? So that's one of the main reasons why they are younger in anime, is because of Japanese feelings towards World War II. And then I would like to add there, though, that that's not always the main reason. That can't solely be the only reason, you know, because different medias play to different audiences. So I don't definitely want to rule out that they're not selling to a particular audience, okay?
The MLB player with the most home runs is Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle has 18 home runs in a World Series. Babe Ruth has 15 and Reggie Jackson 10. Thank you for playing Sports Trivia Mondays.
Thanks for watching SmartFox TV. I'm Chris Yates.
I'm Kim.
I'm Sally.
I'm Tracy.
Until next time, stay
Stay
foxy.
foxy.